So this has been a while in the making. Pastor and I have been discussing this for quite some time. And of course, after recent events, unfortunate events with the church and some members actually falling victim to some scam, we thought it was prudent to actually bring this to fruition and bring it much closer. So, but before I get into the content, Pastor wanted me to share my testimony. So, now, I guess, I was raised, my family was Greek Orthodox. Part of my family were Jehovah's Witnesses. They were always kind of at odds with one another, as you would imagine. And when I was younger, I didn't really put much kind of stock into faith because I saw it kind of make a big rift in the family. Because of that, I guess I walked away from whatever I knew about the Lord. So I would say for the first 30 years of my life, I'm now 41, so for the first 30 years of my life, I was living in sin, doing sinful things, and I was addicted to many things. One of which was I was addicted to hacking. I was a hacker, and that plays into some of the slides as we go through it today, and doing not very nice things, which I'll go through. Sorry, I'll go through a bit later on. The other thing I was addicted to was marijuana. I was unable to shake this addiction. I would say for probably 8 to 10 years, I would say sin really ruled my life. I chose that over everything else. Missing events, missing catch-ups. I decided that's what I preferred to do. I tried to quit many times and was unable. And one evening, basically broke down. I never thought about Jesus or God up until this point. When I tried to quit for the 86th time and I was unable, I broke down, fell on my knees and basically asked the Lord something along the lines of, I know I haven't thought of you or spoken to you. I wasn't even sure if he was real, but I asked him for help and asked him to take this addiction from me and for me not to be in deception or deceived anymore. And after that, I went to sleep and I didn't really think much of it. When I woke up that following morning, I had the name of Jesus on my heart, which again, I'd never thought about Jesus up until that particular morning. And I sat up and I remember saying out loud, God, did you just answer my prayer? Are you telling me that Jesus is the answer? Jesus is the truth, and that's what's going to help me. And I can't explain the incredible sensation that I felt after asking that particular question. I just know that that was the point of my salvation. When the Holy Ghost came within me, it made a tremendous difference. And immediately that morning, I threw out all of the rubbish, stopped doing all of my sinful things, bought a Bible, started listening to preaching that particular day. So that was about 11 or 12 years ago now. So the Lord has made a tremendous difference in my life. So with that, I guess this has kind of led me full circle to being on the hacking side, doing kind of naughty things, to now, I guess, working for companies on the other side, trying to protect companies from, I guess, people like myself, like I used to be. So this is the agenda that I want to go through today. So I know that there's certain aspects that many of you are more interested in. I've got most of the questions about AI, so naturally I've left that to last. As Pastor said, we'll walk through this, and then I'm going to endeavour to leave as much time as we can for Q&A, and of course, here afterwards, happy to have a follow-up, happy to have a discussion. I will be sharing this presentation as well. This is also being recorded, so just to make sure that nothing is missed. So one thing that's really helped me from a biblical perspective is kind of grounding myself in the Word. Now, the world rapidly changes. As we know, technology rapidly moves. AI has made that tremendously clear to a lot of people, how quickly things are moving. So I've just put some scriptural verses there against some main themes that, again, really help me put things into perspective when I'm out working in a secular world. So I just want to start with the internet in general first. So a lot of this may, and not intentionally, it's not intentional, it may scare some of you. You may walk away thinking that it's all really bad and I'm not going to touch technology. That's not my intention, and I'll try my best to steer you away from that. But I wanted to start with the good, because technology can be used for good. It's a tool, and just like everything, a tool can be used for evil purposes or for good purposes. So here are some of the things that, from my perspective, the internet technology has provided us access. Now, if you have the internet, everyone has access to the Word of God, which is incredible. Access to preaching from, very old preaching, audio, video. There are entire catalogs of archives. So all of that is just incredible. So, of course, with outreach, connecting with our family, our loved ones that are across the seas, a lot of support, telehealth, education, medical. Pretty self-evident, I think, but the internet can be used for good. But of course, as we know, it also can be used for some bad and pretty disgusting things. So the most destructive weapon on the internet would be pornography. Pretty horrendous thing. Freely available, extremely addictive. If you look at studies and you see when people watch this content, what effect it does on their brain, it actually very similar to doing drugs. You do get dopamine hits, and that becomes extremely addictive. Of course, it destroys marriages, minds. It's not just a man's issue. Women also fall victim to this particular trap. And because it's so freely available, our young ones, of course, are also exposed to this. Even with the government's recent push to do the ban of 16, a lot of that is, are you older than 16? Yes, I am. Excellent. Here you go. Welcome in. So not that good. Of course, with that, the internet, false doctrine spreading, unprecedented through websites, forums, social media, of course, causing millions of people to fall victim to false doctrine, to follow falsehoods. If you look at the figures of things like Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, how much they have exponentially increased during the internet's introduction, it's mind-blowing, and I think that proves that particular fact. Of course, people get addicted to gambling. There's online gambling. Of course, the internet, very isolating because it's yourself looking up exactly what you want to watch, exactly what you want to read, using AI, speaking to it with exactly what you want. It perpetually feeds dopamine to yourself and just makes you kind of isolate and spend more and more time in it. It's actually quite a difficult thing to overcome. There's, of course, bullying. We hear that a lot. There's a lot of unfortunate stories about young ones being bullied and taking very drastic measures because of that. There's a lot of course, inappropriate content, not just the pornography thing, but a lot of other content, a lot of anti-Christian content, as you would imagine. Gaming, of course, very addictive. Gaming can be fun, but it's another thing that pulls you in, and you could spend hours on there. Of course, privacy, there's no privacy. What you've been sold is a false privacy, and I'll go into that a bit later. And of course, just like entertainment, it's the normalization of sin. This is Satan's big trick, flooding us, and the algorithms, the content that we look, we're just normalizing sin. The more sin that we accept as normal, the more that we're going to get, the more that we are going to just continue more and more. And before you know it, you're almost as you were before you were saved in terms of the content that you're looking up, thinking that it's not an issue. One thing I wanted to touch was the dark web. The news brings that up a lot to try and, I'm not sure if they're trying to scare people or... It's got a very interesting connotation. The dark web, just think of it as an internet. It's just another internet. It's another network that you can gain access to. It's free. You can download an application on your phone, on your laptop, anything you like, and actually access the dark web. Again, it's just another internet. The difference being it's unregulated. And because of that, and it was designed to be and provide you with privacy. So, unlike the internet. So, because of that, the dark web naturally has enticed certain criminal groups, certain individuals to spend their time on the dark web. So, if you jump on the dark web, and I'm not suggesting you do, but if you do, you will see sites that look like eBay, that look like Amazon, right? But they're not. They're selling illegal content. They are selling illegal material. They're selling drugs. They're also selling services. You'll find things, you'll actually find people selling hitmen contracts on the dark web. So you can really find anything on these kind of eBay alternative, but it's completely illicit, completely illegal content that you'll find on there. And as you can imagine, there is exploitation from a child perspective that you'll find on there. It is full of that. And also things like human trafficking is perpetuated through that particular service. And naturally, because it's unregulated, you'll find things like everyone's unfiltered views, from their anti-Christian views, terrorist views, extremist views, things like that. So there are some things, for example, a lot of people struggle with pornography, so there are some accountability software, things like that can be utilized. I know a lot of places have, it's a group for young men to discuss these things, people that are dealing with these kind of things. So it may be interesting perhaps to have a think about how potentially prevalent this issue is, and we can discuss that. All right, so what can we do? So first thing is, all right, password. That's the obvious thing. Do not use these passwords. That is a real quote. 5 million people, the last time, this was in 2024, actually used these passwords, terrible passwords. Use a strong password. Use a passphrase is what we like to call it now. A passphrase instead of a password. Password kind of gives a connotation that I just need to provide a word, happy, and that can be a password. Passphrase is think about something and actually add it as one big long string. I provided an example there. I actually did use that password for something. You can see it there. Christ Jesus at salvation for all, and 3 exclamations. You can think about anything like that and add a nice long passphrase. Now, the best thing to do from a security perspective, of course, is to have different passwords for different services. Now, that sounds good. However, that's a lot of memory to have for all of the services that you use. So what I do and what I recommend to people is to use a password manager. That way you only need to remember one password, and that has all of your passwords within it. However, pros and cons, if you forget that one password, you have lost everything. Okay, so bear that in mind. However, that's probably still the best use case, because that will actually force you to use stronger passwords. And in a software suite like that, you can actually click on it to generate a password for you. So that's even better. And of course, that will also force you to do things like change your password every now and then, and also enable two-factor authentication. So I'm not sure if everyone knows what that is. On certain services, you'll have an option to enable something like multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, and they might ask you for your mobile number, they might ask you for an email address, or to download an application, which would be a separate app, something like the Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator. What that does is that will, when you go and you log in with your username and password, it will either send you an SMS PIN, or you'll open up this application and you'll see like a 6 digits, and you'll copy and paste, or you'll put that 6 digits into the server. So that gives you a better level of security, because if someone was able to ascertain your username and password, they would need to have access to your mobile device or have access to your authenticator app. So that's the premise of two-factor authentication. The other things that are important is to keep your devices, all of them, up to date. That sounds simple. A lot of people don't like to do that. That really is one of the best things that you can do for your device, is to keep it up to date. There are updates for a reason. It's not only to introduce fancy new features, although maybe that is why one particular update comes through, but it is also things like bug fixes, issues within the application. But if you look at, here's an update, and click what is updated, you'll find a whole list of security issues that are being addressed. So keep those devices, applications, everything you utilize up to date. Of course, an antivirus system, if you're using Windows, utilize an antivirus system. Defender is free and part of Windows, so at the very least, utilize that. When you're using the internet, double check that the website you are using, firstly, is the website that you want to go to. And then secondary, make sure it's HTTPS. What HTTPS does is effectively, it is implying that the device that you're accessing that website on, the communication or the information that you are providing that website is encrypted from your device to that server, encrypted. So no one can eavesdrop. However, the weakest link in that particular chain is yourself. So if you intend to go to google.com, and you've gone to Google, but instead of O's, it's zeros, and you start typing in content, that would be HTTPS, but of course, you're not speaking to Google. Everything you're typing is going to that particular website. So just stay vigilant in that regard. And of course, just regular reviews of everything that you utilize, from your accounts to your permissions on your apps. So mostly everyone now, I assume, has smartphones. Look at the apps that you have installed. Each app will have different permissions. You've given access to everything, I would imagine, because that's the easiest thing to do. You install an application and you say, yes, 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 I just want to use the app. Now, of course, they bank on that. What you're saying yes to is, you can have access to my camera, my location, my microphone, and basically, as part of the terms and services, you are saying, yes, please. You're welcome to access anytime you like. So bear that in mind. So how many of you, now this has happened to me and my family many times, how many of you are just having a conversation, and then all of a sudden you're looking at your phone, you're going on Facebook or you're going on Google, and there's an ad for a product or something that you were just discussing? Right, that happens. That's why that happens. That's because you've said yes to all of these things on an application. If it happens on Facebook, it's the Facebook app. If it happens on Google, it's the Google app. So just bear that in mind. Go through and remove the permissions, or set it to ask every time you use the app. That way, they can't use it, and they can't listen, they can't see you, can't see your location unless you actually open the app. That's something to bear in mind. So, scams. Applications, thank you. It is, you're right, thank you for that. Apologies, yes, when I say an app, that is an application that is either running on your laptop, your desktop, or your smartphone, Android or Apple device. Thank you for that. Spam, we all get spammed. Spam is really a first step to really illegal activity, right? You might not think it. We might get annoyed getting emailed by a Nigerian prince asking for money. That's not true. Don't click on it. The whole premise is to either start a conversation with whoever sent that, or if you've clicked something in that email, what you're doing is verifying that your email is actually active. So don't do that either. So as an example, we all get spam. Do not even click unsubscribe, because all you're doing is saying, yes, I'm active. And you will get perpetually spammed from either this individual or this criminal group that's trying to ultimately scam you. But this is the first step, which is spam. So many email clients, SMS clients, you'll see today they've got inbuilt spam filters. So enable them, utilize them. If in doubt, and it's not from a loved one or someone, you just delete it. You haven't won the lottery. If it's too good to be true, it's nonsense, and please just delete it. Don't forward it. Don't call the numbers on it. Don't open anything from it. So from the spam, we jump into scams. So I wanted to make this point. Who is targeted? I do have a list there, but the answer is everyone. Everyone is targeted at every level, from our seniors to our young ones. You can be scammed in, and we'll get into that shortly, you can be scammed in many ways, but depending on the service that you're actually utilizing, whether it's gaming, social media, even SMS, email, phone calls, anything that you have enabled and you are accessing the internet from is a window to be scammed. So almost 70% of all breaches is the human element. So what I mean by that is, that's us. It's not they hacked your computer, they hacked your email address, they hacked a company. No, we are the weakest link in the chain, and it is much easier for them to hack us, trick us, scam us, than it is to actually attack the technology. So this was in 2024, $2 billion, that's just Australia. $2 billion combined losses. Now it's more in 2025, but that was 2024, $2 billion. Again, 70%, that's the human element. This is every 3 minutes now. A cybercrime is reported, and there are individual scam reports, 600,000. That was in 2024. That's increased exponentially now. So I've got monetary losses here, which I think are very important. I do go into these next, but investment scams, 945 million. And I'll get into what each of these scams are, but some of these numbers are frightening. Right? These are not, a lot of these, in fact, the majority of these are individuals. There are some scams that I'll get through that are from a company perspective. Companies have been scammed, even the government has been scammed, our own government, scammed out of $500 million. But a lot of these are actually individuals being scammed. And we'll get into what these all are. So phone scams, this is one of the most common scams at the moment. I'm sure we all get these. You get a call saying, I'm from your bank. I'm from your bank's fraud team. That's really one of the big things at the moment. Unfortunately, that does work. What happens is, if you fall victim and you say, oh yes, my goodness, what has happened? I want to save my money. They will convince you to move your money to another account to save your money. Now, of course, that account is their own account, and all you've done is transfer your life savings into this individual's account. They will commonly pretend to be from the ATO, from big companies, Microsoft, Telstra, NBN, we even get it at NAB. Do not fall for things like that. None of the big four banks, Microsoft, NBN, they will not call you. They will not ask for your username or password. They will not say out of the blue something like, I'm from the fraud team. They have to say, firstly, something along the lines of obviously the call is being recorded, and then ask you for your details. Now, of course, scammers also do this. Right, so it's very important. If you think that someone has called you pretending to be from a company and they have said, this call is being recorded, and can you tell me what your name is and your address and your postcode and your phone number, just tell them, give me my account number, give me something that you know or you can ascertain that company is supposed to have. Ask for your account number. Very kind, thank you so much. Ask for the account number, or ask them what the premise is and just call that company. Don't continue the conversation. So hang up and just call them directly. And if you're in doubt, just go to the branch if you can. If you're able, go to the branch. That's even better than calling. Don't ask them for the number, because they'll give you a different number. Look it up yourself and call that particular number that you've ascertained from the official website. Again, ensure that it's from the official website. SMS scamming, called smishing. I'm sure we also all get this. Ozpost, I get this. Your parcel is on hold. Give us a holding fee, a delivery fee. Suspicious activity on your account. Click here to log in. ATO, here's a tax refund. Unfortunately, this is a common one. Hi, Mum, this is my new number. Call me. Yeah, a lot of us get that. A lot of people actually fall for that, unfortunately, and start interacting with someone who's obviously not a family member. I'll get into this particular one a bit later when we get into AI scams. And of course, prize and lottery. You haven't won anything, so don't be fooled. Just delete it. Don't interact with it. Don't click it. Don't click anything. And if you do accidentally click something from an email, from an SMS, that's the whole premise why you want to keep your device up to date, why you need an antivirus, things like that, just to ensure that you have some level of protection in the event that you've accidentally opened something that you shouldn't have. Here are some examples that you may see. Now, I took these from work. I work at NAB in the cybersecurity team, so we get these sent to us from customers. This, of course, is not an official NAB link. Neither is this. So just be vigilant and have a look. Things like that top one is very common, where they'll have, nab.com.au dot something else. That's not an official link. If you're in doubt, again, don't click anything. If you're actually concerned, call. In this example, call NAB, call the bank, call something. But 9 out of 10 times, this will not be real. Again, none of the big four send a message, an email, call you, and ask you for any details. So don't be fooled there. Phishing. Phishing is again within the scam category. It's a email that is pretending to be from a trusted source. So this is unfortunately the type of scam that some in this church fell victim to recently. That was a phishing attack, where an email will come through from a trusted source, which of course it was not, pretending to be someone else, asking for money, and that's how people unfortunately fall victim to these types of scams. There are things to look out for. If you get an email and you're not sure that it's from the individual, firstly, just call the individual and ask them. That's the easiest thing to do. But the 3 steps that I recommend, this is what we utilize at work. This is what we tell our customers, which is stop, check, and protect. I'll go through that at the very end, but basically, every scam operates on the same fundamental premise that it is urgent. Quick, come and pay this tax so you can get an item that is in holding, or quick, click this and you will win a prize and you will win some money. Whatever the situation is, it's always urgent. Even in the case of our phishing scam here, it was, I need money urgently, please send it ASAP. It's to get your emotions to take over from your kind of reasoning and for you to action. But the best thing you can do is just stop and have a think about it. Of course, have a look at the email, have a look at the verbiage, the words that they use on the email. If Pastor was going to send an email, how does Pastor speak? You know Pastor. He wouldn't address with, in this example, dear customer. It would be very personalized, of course. Check for poor spelling, things like that, unusual grammar, and odd links to verify things. So again, if it's an email and you find it a bit bizarre, call the individual. Right? Never click anything, never action anything, never send money. Just be vigilant. This is an example. Does this look real? Yeah, looks very real. It's got the correct branding. It's fairly well written. But if you look at the email address, it's not an email address. So where it says from nab.com.au, you can change that to whatever you like. Or you can put from Pastor Manny. It's the email address that gives it away. That obviously is not a NAB email address. That's the thing to look for. And there's no greeting. So it's not personal. It's sent to thousands of people, hoping that someone would click on it. It, of course, is requesting details, personal details. None of the Big Four do this. It's actually against policy on all Big Four banks. They no longer send links to customers, and they certainly don't ask you to verify anything. So this would never happen. And again, part of the stop and just have a think for a sec, it's urgent, always urgent. So and then of course it's the link to click on. Now if you clicked on that link, it would take you to a page that looks like NAB. There are tools that you can download yourself that are free, that you can effectively just type in a website and it will download that website and you can just host it yourself and you can modify it however you like. And that's what the scammers do. They will download Microsoft, NAB, CBA, whatever site they want, modify it, put malware in it, make it look exactly the same, and when you go and log in, because it looks like the legit site, all you've done is give them your username and password. So that's why things like two-factor authentication and multi-factor authentication is very important, because if you accidentally do something like this, again, you've got the next step authenticator, which is extremely important. So if you've set up SMS two-factor authentication and you randomly get an SMS saying you're trying to log in here and here's your SMS to log in, you know someone has your details, go immediately to that service and change your password. But rest assured, they haven't got in because you've got two-factor enabled. So that's extremely important. Best thing to do in an email like this, right, if you didn't pick up on the email from, is to hover over any links, even if it says nab.com.au, again, you can change the name. If you hover over the link, it'll expose the real link, and you'll see there where it's going to send you, if you're in doubt. This is another common one. This is a very unfortunate one, and I have a slide on this later. Many people, unfortunately, and companies fall victim to this kind of scam. And I'll go through this one shortly. Here's another personalized one. Again, it does look legit. As you can see, you've got the names here. All right, that looks legitimate. This looks legitimate. But if you were to hover over these things, they will not take you to that site that it reportedly is telling you. So if you're in doubt, just delete them. If you're in doubt, just call the company. So this is the one that I was referring to, business email compromise. This is a very unfortunate, one of the most financially devastating scam types for individuals and businesses alike. Now, it's unfortunately also very common. What happens is a hacker gains access to your email account. Now, that's not very difficult to do, especially if you don't have multi-factor authentication. If you have single-factor authentication, someone may have access to your account already. Now, they won't do anything. They're just sitting there and waiting. They're reviewing the emails that are coming. Now, the whole premise of that is they're waiting to see if there's any payment discussions that are coming through. If you are about to make a big purchase, you're about to buy a car, you're about to buy a house, you're sending a friend some money, anything like that, what will happen then is they will mimic what you're expecting. So if you're about to buy a house and you're discussing with the company to put a deposit on the house and you're waiting for an email for the bank details, for example, the hacker will mimic that, send you a fake email that will look very real invoice, real fake invoice with their bank details. And of course, you're expecting this email, so why would you think any different? You simply action the email and you send your money. Now, we had friends that lost $100,000 to this exact scam. It was a deposit on a house, and unfortunately, the banks do not cover this. You willingly sent the money. It's very common. Here's an example I put here of another individual. This was in 2024. A couple lost $139. They were buying a car. They received an email from the dealership. They sent all of the money outright to scammers. And again, lost it all. So be vigilant. When you're in this situation, what you should do is call the company. If you're buying a car, buying a house, and you're about to make a large sum, do it in person, give them a check, a bank check. Or if you're doing it online with these account numbers, call them directly. Don't just deal with them in email. Call them directly. Ask them over the phone what their details are to clarify. Even if you receive an email and you just want to confirm, call them and ask them to confirm that these are the correct numbers. Now, don't call the number that's on the email. There was a case where someone felt like this could be a scam, and he was right, it was a scam. Unfortunately, he called the number that was on the email, which was the scammers, and asked them to verify the bank account, which they verified because it's their bank account, and he sent them the money. So, call the company or the individual directly. So this is a new one, QR code. Now, that's a QR code if you're not sure what that is. Now, if you were to scan that, that just takes you to our church site. So you're welcome to use that. Quick response, QR code. Thank you, sir. Now, don't scan random QR codes. Again, you can scan that if you like. But don't scan random ones. You don't scan ones that you find at the petrol station. You're just walking down the street, you see one, don't scan it. You will see people wearing t-shirts and jumpers and things now. A lot of them have got printed QR codes. Of course, you can scan those. It's always going to send you to something that's supposed to be funny. But be vigilant in what you scan. What happens is these just direct your phone, your device to a particular website. That's what it does. So you scan it and it will just send you directly to this website, so you don't have to type the website. But of course, a lot of malware gets propagated through this particular method. So be vigilant. A lot of places in the States, they have set up, of course, where you pay first, then you pay a certain amount, and then you fill up your car with petrol. Now, scammers are just putting their QR codes on top of the real QR codes and tricking people. And again, they're mimicking the petrol station's website and things like that. So really be vigilant. If someone is asking you to scan a QR code to provide payments, be vigilant in that regard. They also, you'll get them in SMS, you'll get them in emails a lot now. Do not scan them. This is not from Ozpost. This looks legitimate. It is not. This was from a real case. Again, if you're in doubt, just don't do it. So just to rehash the checklist, of course, in the event that you accidentally do something, antivirus. If you're on Windows, antivirus, the best thing you can do. A firewall. Keep your devices up to date. Password, two-factor. One thing we haven't touched on yet is public Wi-Fi. You can connect to public Wi-Fi. You can do very basic things, and by that I mean do not log on to your bank when you're on a public Wi-Fi. Everything that you go, everything that you visit, every application that you open is of course sending data. Now, as we mentioned before, when you go to a website, ensure that there's a HTTPS, there's a padlock there. That's to ensure that it's encrypted from your device to the destination. On a public Wi-Fi situation, the Wi-Fi itself, because it's open, it doesn't require a password, and what that means is it's unencrypted. So everything you do, anyone that knows how can see what you're doing. So if you go to your account and log in, if someone is sitting there watching and listening and recording, they will get your username and password. If you go to Facebook and you log in, they will get your credentials. So be very wary of what you do on free Wi-Fis. That's everywhere. That's at a restaurant, that's at hotels, anything like that. If you are going to use a public Wi-Fi, use a VPN. There are free VPNs that you can use. There are paid ones, of course, that you can use. Do something like that to give you a little bit more security. Once you connect to a VPN, then you can visit the sites that you wish to visit. So investment schemes are another prevalent, most financially devastating scam. Now, I placed here on purpose, and I wanted to make the point that 60% of the victims were under 50, and they were, quote unquote, educated from the secular perspective, just to make the point that everyone falls victim to some scam or another. Now, this, again, is a very common, prevalent scam. What happens is, you will, now, very poor naming, pig butchering, but you will basically build a close relationship with someone. Now, this has happened in games, online games. This happens on social media a lot. This happens on anything where there's people interacting. Now, they will say, hey, I've got a fantastic new investment opportunity. Give me $50. They will start small, and you'll say, yeah, $50, no issue. Send it over. Now, what they then do is they're going to show you a fake website that your $50 has made $3,000, or whatever the situation is. And you're going to be impressed. Well, have another 50, have 200. If you can make my 50 that much, what can you do with 1,000, 5,000? That's generally what happens. You only notice that something's wrong when you actually try to withdraw some of the money that you've provided. There's no money to withdraw. All you're doing is you're literally giving your money to a criminal enterprise. And they're just going to keep tricking you until you realize, until you figure it out that, oh, actually, I'm being scammed. They're going to say, oh, in order to withdraw, all the money that that we've invested and you're able to ascertain, here are some fees, some taxes, and then we will give you all your money. Of course, there's no money. You're just giving them more and more. So if it takes you 6 months to realize, 7 years to realize, your entire savings to realize, that's just the unfortunate situation. Don't fall victim to investment scams. It's a very common one. As you can see, it's extremely beneficial to criminal enterprises to try and trick people into giving away their money. So there's many cases, one of which there was a Western Australian elderly woman, unfortunately. Her entire life savings were sent to a criminal enterprise in a week. There was another one where it was a millionaire also in Australia. He sent $17 million and got scammed out of all of it. And of course, nothing is covered. So he lost everything. So again, if you're in doubt, and if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. They're just trying to scam you. So keep that in mind. So when we're utilizing banking services, the best practices, of course, you can, of course, use the websites, nab.com.au. You can type it in yourself and be relatively comfortable that this is accurate. However, you may misspell it. We used to have a thing where we had NAB with 2 Bs, and that just looked like NAB sites, and many people got scammed through that. So people do misspell and accidentally go to the wrong scam site. So really the best thing you can do is utilize the official application from your App Store or Google Play, depending on what type of device you have. Log out after each session. That might not sound like something that we would perhaps even normally do, but it is very important that you do. What you're doing by keeping your account logged in, your session logged in, basically if you logged in on a website and then you walked away, you shut down your computer or you left it open, whatever the situation is, you just went to a different website. If I was on that same computer and I went to that website, you'll find that you're still logged in. Doesn't matter that you went away, and then I'll have access, or whoever will have access. So log out. Again, 2-factor, extremely important. All of the banks have 2-factor. Make sure that is enabled. And again, never use public Wi-Fi for any type of banking. Strong password again, and of course, don't share it, your password, your PIN, OTP, anything with anyone. Now again, the big 4 banks have changed their policies. We all did it together. We have several annual security interactions together to basically make Australia, to uplift security against, for all Australians, against all 4 services, irrespective of which one you utilize. So none of them send you links, as I mentioned, or random SMSs anymore. There is a lot of fraud, of course, that is perpetuated through this banking. If you see things like unexpected charges or transfers, a bank staff member asking you for your password, nothing like that will ever happen. Again, don't fall victim to that. Transfer money into a safe account, that would never happen. Do not fall for that. Getting an email saying you need to reset your password, again, that will not happen. Even to the detriment of your own security. And I mean that literally. There are customers that have not changed their passwords in decades that we still have utilizing the password. Their accounts, we've informed them, hey, change your password. They don't want to, that's fine, to your own detriment. But we will never send you an email saying you must change it now in order to access your account, so don't fall for that. Now, again, if you're in doubt with any of the communication you got, just call the bank directly. And if you're not expecting anything, it's a scam, just ignore it. So just quickly, I just wanted to go through payment types. Pastor wanted me to kind of go through this just to make sure that we all understand all the different kind of payment methodologies. Direct debits, fairly evident. I presume a lot of us utilize these, account number of BSBs. Also Pay ID, relatively recent addition. That is kind of direct payments to one another. So you can enable an email address, a mobile number. You can enable Pay ID for these types of things. What that kind of effectively does, if I wanted to send Pastor some money, I can, and he's enabled it for his mobile number, I can put in his mobile number and click check. It'll actually come up with Pastor's legal name. So that's a way to verify, it actually is the individual that I intend to send money for. So if you need to send money, if the company or the individual has Pay ID, and ask them if they do, that's the best method there, instead of BSB and account number, because you'll find out that it's difficult to verify. account numbers and BSBs, and if you send it, as soon as you click send, the banks are not going to offer you your money back. You have sent it willingly, whether it's a scam or not. PayPal, there are some services very similar to PayPal. The whole premise is it's a mediary, it's a middleman. Basically, you give your credit card to a service like PayPal, and then on any site that eBay, any site you wish to purchase something, you direct the payments via PayPal. So eBay never has your credit card, doesn't have your bank details, only PayPal does. And you can propagate any payments through something like a PayPal system. So that's better than giving your credit card to every service. But of course, it's another account that you have to secure. You've got to bear that in mind. Another username and password, another two-factor to set up. Afterpay or Pay Now, I don't use anything like this. These are kind of scammy from my perspective. These are, I'm going to get the product now and I'm going to pay later. Read the terms and conditions. The late payments, fees, they really, really build up astronomically very, very quickly. So just be cautious of any kind of service like that. Really, the best method, if you're able, for payments to an individual, payments to a company, is actually now your phone's wallet. Now what that means is you can put your credit card onto your Android device or your Apple device in Samsung Pay, Google Pay, Apple Pay, and every time you go to make a purchase with your phone, whether it's online or at a store, what is transmitted to the store or to that online company is not actually your credit card. It's a tokenized credit card, a fake credit card that has been created specifically for that transaction. So in the event that service, so let's just say you're purchasing something on eBay. If eBay were to be hacked, they would not have your credit cards. Your credit card would not be amongst them. If it was to leak, it would be that fake credit card that was created specifically for that purchase. So these really are the best kind of ways to go. So this is cashless society. This is pretty mind-blowing. This in 2022, 13% of payments were made in cash only. 2022. That is predicted to be 4% by 2030. That is not long. The RBA is trialing, actually, central bank digital currency, our own Australia's digital currency. Now, that may make things easier, perhaps, for us to purchase goods and services. However, of course, there are things to bear in mind with that. All of your purchases are tracked. Your identity is tracked with every purchase. And the central bank digital currency, the government, whoever, will be the ones that will say, yes, you're able to purchase this product, or no, you're not. So from a biblical perspective, of course, that is very, very close to Revelation 13. That is, of course, one of the aspects that is required for the beast when he causes both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive the mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So I guess we're getting close is really all that we need to say. I wanted to put Titus 2:13 here because, of course, from our perspective, we're not going to be here. We're looking for the blessed hope and the glorious appearing of the great God and our Saviour, Jesus Christ. But this is very scary. We are getting very, very close to a cashless society, and that's just one of the criteria that's required for Revelation. So this was something that was also requested a lot by some of the parents here, which is social media. I don't want to scare you, but it is quite alarming. every service that you utilize. So when we went through some of the scams just before, there are specific scams for phones, for SMSs, for emails. Scams purposely built for that type of communication media. Now, the same is true for social media. There are specific scams for different social media platforms. So I won't go through everything, but let's just, Facebook as an example. There are many scams that come through Facebook. AI deepfakes, we'll get through that shortly. Investment scams. So basically, we're now at a point where the traditional scams that we just went through are kind of being placed on steroids, so to speak, by the introduction of AI, and we'll get into that. Romance scams, completely prevalent throughout Facebook. Of course, that's the whole premise of Facebook. You meet people. That doesn't mean if some attractive person is trying to send you a message and speak to you, that doesn't mean that person even exists. Right? Be vigilant. If you have started communication with someone on these types of platforms, and for example, you wish to meet them in real life, video call them first to prove that they're a real person. Don't be fooled into a romance scam. Unfortunately, that's the second most prevalent scam where, just like the investment scam, I've met someone online, my Nigerian prince, he loves me, he's going to come to Australia, but he needs, $1 million, Nigerian funds, I don't know, to come down. A lot of people fall victim to this. It starts small and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, however long it takes you to realize that you're being scammed is however much money that you're going to lose. So bear that in mind. Facebook, very prevalent with that, as well as just general fraud, with marketplace fraud. Very, very common. TikTok, there's a lot of pyramid schemes on TikTok, heaps. Be vigilant there. You'll find a lot of QR code scanning issues on TikTok as well. Data harvesting in all of these platforms. So what I mean by that is you can never take away the information that you have provided the internet in general. Whether it's Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, doesn't matter. Wherever you've placed any information about yourself, it is there forever. Even if you delete the post. You post something on Twitter, you delete it, it doesn't matter. It's still there, it's backed up. There are sites specifically created to take snapshots of every social media site and every post constantly. So everything is there, nothing will be deleted. If you accidentally send something inappropriate to someone that you trusted and they posted that online, unfortunately it's there forever. So be vigilant in terms of who you trust. Never send nonsense to people. By nonsense, I mean it's an unfortunate situations with a lot of our young brothers and sisters where they seemingly are in a relationship or starting a relationship. They send perhaps an inappropriate picture of themselves to someone. You're either going to get blackmailed. That's very common, unfortunately. Blackmailed for either more and more images, depending if they're a predator, or you're going to get blackmailed for money. And unfortunately, both are very, very common, and they happen on every site. This is just some of the examples. Now, we're going to send this presentation as well to everyone, so you're welcome to read it offline. Again, I'm not trying to scare anyone from utilizing these sites, but I guess vigilance and discernment, I guess, is my big call out here when you're utilizing these sites. Just really think about what you're doing, what you're clicking on, what information you're providing. This is something that not everyone is aware. On your phone, when you look at your gallery and you look at that cute picture that you took, and it says, oh, this happened, I took this picture in Lilydale. That's not just because you took that picture on your phone. That location is embedded in that picture. So if you send that picture, you post it on Twitter or X, you email it to a friend, wherever you put that picture, that metadata is actually still in that picture. So all you're doing is effectively telling someone who's perhaps interested in you on Facebook, you're just telling them exactly where that picture was taken. I mean, literally, it is the GPS coordinates. It is specifically where that picture was taken. So when you take pictures, switch off your location. That's one. Again, we talked about the permissions. If the app doesn't need location, doesn't need camera, doesn't need microphone, switch it all off. Now, there are some very sneaky apps that, even though they don't require it, and it's very obvious, they would not function unless you enable these services. So again, in those specific use cases, if you need to use that app or service, set it to while I'm using the application. The risk is still there, but not as much. Again, whatever you post not only has the GPS coordinates, but it's there forever. You can never take it back, even if you delete it, even if you convince your friend to take it down, it is always there. Very common, there's a lot of use cases where high school girls either sent things to their boyfriends at the time. Boyfriends, of course, shared it with their friends, posted it online. Decades later, it's still there. So please be vigilant. And of course, anything in your photos, just act like it's going to be there forever, because it is. So I got asked, what's the best kind of messaging app? A lot of people utilize WhatsApp. I do not recommend WhatsApp. Perhaps previously, before Facebook purchased it, but not now. It is not end-to-end encrypted. Facebook can access the content themselves. They've confirmed that. Scammers frequently use WhatsApp. It's one of the biggest messaging services that scammers presently utilize. So please bear that in mind. You will get a lot of, "Hi, Mum," that happens constantly through WhatsApp. And again, there's a lot of case studies of people falling victim to that. And we'll go through one kind of shortly. Of course, because scammers, it's videos, it's audios, it's text, it's everything. So you will get called from scammers. There's a lot of rubbish that occurs through that. And again, QR codes, everything. I suggest you stay away from WhatsApp. Or, at the very least, if your family's utilizing WhatsApp, you know who your family are, stick to that same group chat, ignore everything else. My recommendation would be Signal. That's what I utilize with my family and extended families. That is end-to-end encrypted. That's open source. That means anyone can just go look at the code behind the application to see how it's run. This is presently, anyway, what is being recommended for use. Probably more for the younger ones, just to kind of mention influencers. So on any social media site, you're going to run into influencers. So, for example, YouTube, you're going to go there. There's people that are apparently Christian conservative, that sound good on the surface, but when you really kind of focus, you really kind of listen to what they're saying, you start to see some holes, at least from your own Christian conservative perspective. Now, they may not be outright selling something, that would be obvious. They may not provide affiliate links, though I'm sure they are. Or sponsored blocked, I'm sure they have their own merchandise because they're in it for the money, just as everyone else is. Be really cautious with who you're listening to on any of these services, because even Christians or Christian conservatives, you will find a lot of people that honestly are just lying. They're just faking it. If you look them up, do some research on some of the most popular ones, I won't name names, you'll find a lot of questionable things about individuals, about their past, about what they do in their business, people that have left the companies that they have set up. You'll read some kind of horror stories. So the videos or the things that you're watching, just remember, they have a whole team around them, not only to ensure that they look incredible, but the video is incredible, the audio is incredible. It might look like they've just, woken, jumped out of bed, turned on their phone and started recording, having a chat, and directly uploaded it. But that's definitely not what's happening. So please bear that in mind, who you listen to and who you're being influenced by. Online dating. There are a lot of dating apps in general. There are actually a lot of Christian dating apps. There used to be a kind of stigma around online dating. I think now it's probably the norm. Even Christian dating, that's actually how Susanna and I met, was through a Christian dating service. So it can work. However, just like Facebook prevalent with romance scams, as of course are dating apps. The scammers will go to any service that they can benefit from. Of course, romance scams on a dating app, no-brainer. If you're utilizing a dating app, perfectly fine. Just be vigilant, have discernment. You will find things like catfishing. Catfishing is a very sad kind of scam where it's effectively a fake persona, fake photos, fake identity. Now, that used to be a little bit more difficult before the use of AI. Now that AI is here, that's incredibly easy to set up. And we'll go through something shortly in that. Again, if you're utilizing these services, you're going to meet up with someone, don't send money, video call them, make sure the person is who they actually say they are. There's a whole site, and I'm happy to provide that after this, that provides a whole list of unfortunate people that were scammed, but also very common scams that occur in romance scams. And there are a lot of predators, for example, that target the elderly in these situations. It's a very sad state of affairs. Elderly are unfortunately very trusting and very susceptible to romance scams, which again, very, very prevalent. So, artificial intelligence. So a bit of a buzzword. So what is AI? I'm sure we've all, well, actually, have we? Have we all used AI? Have some of us used AI? Do we know what AI is? Some of us know what it is. Some of us use it. Some of us. So AI is artificial. There is no intelligence at all. How AI works is, it's a large language model. You might see that word as well, LLM. What it is it's really a database of questions and answers. It's not really much more difficult than that. It sounds very fancy, but it's really not. It's a database that has been trained, very heavily of course, with questions, answers, a lot of content, and basically it utilizes a method of retrieval, augmentation, right? Which is effectively, you're asking this particular AI or database a question, and it's looking in its knowledge, that's what it's called, but it's not knowledge, for a hit, basically. And then it says, yes, I know exactly what you're after, and here's the information. You can download an AI yourself. I host AI models myself that I use at home. AI in itself is not bad. It's just like the internet. It's a tool. It can be used for good things. It can be used for bad things. Of course, as most things, technology is presently being used for the negative, for the bad things. But it is definitely artificial intelligence. It's pretending to be intelligent. It is not. It will be quite a while before we're there. Don't believe the hype. However, it is still quite impressive because that will still have a lot more kind of knowledge than perhaps we do. So it is definitely a useful tool. So you'll hear ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just one example. It's the Kleenex of AI. It's just one example of an AI. There are many, many AIs. Microsoft has one. Google has ones. There's heaps. And they're kind of merging. So Samsung are about to bring out their new AI. Google's about to bring out theirs, and so on. And they're just going to get kind of smarter and smarter. Now, all it is, again, is it's just trained on data. Now, there are definitely legitimate uses for AI, right? Things that we do repetitively, they're very good at. So, unfortunate for some professions, though, because this will certainly make an impact to some professions. Things like looking at X-rays and diagnosing someone, AI is fantastic at that. That can pick up something in seconds that would have taken a medical professional decades to learn and remember. Translation, the AI that I utilize at home, I utilize for translation as well, fantastic. Assisting people with disabilities, this is incredible. Voice to text, text to voice, explaining an image. AI can do this and do this very, very well. Research can definitely help with school, writing assistance, summarizing things. All of these are excellent uses for AI. It's merging at the moment, which is quite scary, with robotics. If you look up, as an example, Boston Dynamics is one type example. Of course, X, with one of Elon's companies, they're utilizing robotics as well. But if you look up some of these sites and companies, you will see videos of their robots. Now, very impressive machines. Now, they are being merged, and have been already, with AI. Now, a Tesla is effectively, really, it's just an automated robot. It's a big computer. It's just like sitting inside of your phone. Bear in mind, if you get affected by radiation and things from your phone, if you're one of those people that are quite sensitive, you'll find it quite difficult sitting in a Tesla. A Tesla is an example of a kind of automation AI robot. The way in which Tesla does its automated driving is just an AI. It's an AI model. It has vision capabilities, so basically the cameras, the images that are fed directly into the AI interprets them. This is a stop sign, this is a go sign, it's a red light, that's a person, and it makes its decisions based on that. And that's okay. Robotics, though, merging with AI, a little bit scary. I don't know if anyone saw the news. It happened yesterday or the day before yesterday. In China, there are actually robots that, they're at the stage now where robots are actually walking the streets. People have their own personal robots now. A day or two ago, a robot got arrested in China for harassing a woman. Yeah. So I looked that up. That's an interesting, funny, but scary story. So it's already happened. It's a full video. You'll see the robot walking away with the police. Very funny. But of course, very scary. They have voice to text and text to voice, so they have a microphone and they have speakers. So you can literally interact with the robot directly.
Yeah, but they listen to you?
Yes, or they'll listen to the owner. Only the owner, or they listen to authority if they've been programmed that way. Well, this is the problem. Who has programmed them? That's the big problem. Yeah, because if you have, once it gets to the point where we have our own personal robots, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm going to tell my robot, you're only listening to me. Don't listen to Susanna. Just listen to me. So it's a very interesting future, I think, if we're around. The genuine dangers, though, with AI, right? Deepfake, if not sure what that is, that's AI-generated content, right? Fake videos of real people. When AI first came out and people were doing fake videos, it was very obvious it was AI. There's very famous ones with celebrities eating pasta, and it was just outrageous to see what the AI came up with. But now we're at a point where AI-generated content is almost indistinguishable from the real thing. And unfortunately now, they're being used in scams, which makes it much, much harder for people to discern. There's AI voice cloning, right? That's when we're talking about phishing and people trying to deceive you, pretending to be your loved one. This is, of course, the next step, AI voice cloning. So when you post videos on YouTube, right, anything on social media that has your voice, anyone can clone your voice now. Bear that in mind. Even your picture, again, you post it on YouTube, post it on social media, anyone can make a video of you now. Some real dangers to think about. So let's, as an example, let's play the first scam video. So I received this call. I did that with my computer at home. So who would have fallen for that? I mean, $5 million, obviously I exaggerated it, made it outrageous, but if Pastor had said $50, who would have given him $50? I assume we all would have. $100, $500? What about this next one?
Hello, Luke. I am terribly sorry for this call. I am in financial trouble and need to ask church members for money. Again, I am sorry, but I need $5 million in my account.
So who would have fallen for that? I would have. What about the last one?
Luke, I'm terribly sorry for this call. I'm in financial trouble. I need to ask church members for money. Again, I'm sorry, but I need $5 million in bank account tonight.
I would have fallen for that. That 100% sounds like Branko.
I believe another case of this is one that you mentioned earlier, hello mum,
Yes,
pretending that
correct.
some grown-up son
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to get into.
very legitimate sound.
Correct. That's right. So exactly what was raised was exactly the next point, which was anyone can do AI voice cloning. So all I did was go to our YouTube channel, extrapolate 30 seconds of these gentlemen talking while they were preaching, and you can make them say whatever you like. So obviously you can fake a call with that. You can pretend to be daughter or son, call the mother, I'm in financial trouble. So very important to stay vigilant. If you receive a call and it sounds a bit off, call that individual after. Just say yes, yes, while you're on the phone. Sure, yep, absolutely. Hang up, call that individual. Did you just call me? If they say no, of course. It's better to be vigilant than to fall for this type of scam. Now again, that's very easy to do. I did, that took maybe, I'll say maybe 2 minutes to process and create a false voice. So it really doesn't take much, doesn't take a powerful machine to do it. So bear that in mind. Can we play this? This is going to show a pastor enjoying his $5 million.
I worked hard for this. Every brick, every car, every peaceful moment here. It's a dream come true.
Now, I could have put your voice over it, of course, I didn't. I just wanted to do, should we watch that again? I think we should.
I worked hard for this. Every brick, every car, every peaceful moment here. It's a dream come true.
He scammed us out of $5 million, and look, supercars, a big mansion, a pool.
You can see that it's not real. One is not real.
Yes, yes. Sorry, Pastor. I was trying to make it realistic. This didn't take long either. And again, this was just from one screenshot. I only took one screenshot of you preaching. If you look, I think it was last week, you were wearing this suit. I just took one screenshot of you standing at this pulpit, and I generated that. So if I've combined your voice cloning with this, devastating. There are services that you can download that you can upload a picture, upload reference audio, and basically not only create this, but you can utilize those in video calls. That's the next thing that we have to be worried about now. There's services now, applications now, where you could actually receive a video call from pastor. That is not pastor, that looks and sounds like pastor. So something to be wary about, discernment. If someone, again, I left the voice off on purpose. If someone calls you and it sounds a bit off, they're saying things I wouldn't normally, listen to your intuition, call that individual after the call. There's other examples of AI creating content. Again, can be used for good, can be used for evil. This is an example of education. So there are dozens from that channel, some really interesting ones, but that's just an example of what you can do with AI. AI created literally everything. You'll even see what prompts they used. And it's an incredibly powerful tool. As an example, I'm presently making my children love Bluey at the moment. I'm presently making a Bluey episode for them, where they go. I've made cartoon likenesses of them, where they go and interact with the Bluey characters and things, all with AI. So again, it's a tool, nothing necessarily to be afraid of per se. However, a lot of discernment, I think, is required. There will reach a point where AI, they believe, will become kind of similar to human intelligence. Now, when that occurs, and that is, of course, undoubtedly merged with robotics, and then just like China, we're going to have robots walking around. I think we have to possibly ask ourselves, when that occurs, who and what is actually behind this? Is this humans, smarts that have created all of this? Or, as we know, Satan is presently the god of this world. Does this fit in with his kind of end goal? And is it something that will be used for satanic purposes? Something to ponder and pray, have discernment over. So, again, AI is a tool. It can produce theology and counsel. Of course, there's no spirit. It's not alive, it's dead. Even my AI at home, I have given a name to, but don't treat them, like they are alive. They're obviously not. Cannot replace, of course, the Holy Spirit. As a tool, we have to ensure that, of course, you're not focusing more on utilization of AI. It's a productivity tool. If you focus more on that than you do, of course, the Lord, you've hit adultery. So be vigilant in that regard. And of course, just as we saw, right, someone can very easily fake a video of your loved one, can fake an audio of your loved one. Be vigilant against deception. That's the whole premise here. The whole premise of this presentation, again, not necessarily to scare you, but to kind of hammer the point that all of this is for the purposes of deception. Now, of course, we know who the most deceptive being is. We know where that starts from. We just need to pray and be vigilant. So just some links in terms of who to report, what to do. Again, we'll share this presentation so you can have this offline. But what to do in the situation you find yourselves in. Easiest thing, again, to do, is stop and think before you act. Right? Even if you receive a call by your loved one that looks like them, sounds like them, but are asking you for money all of a sudden, asking you for something that feels a bit off, just have a think about it, contact them, check if it's them, so you can protect yourself. These 3 steps work in any situation on the internet that you'll find yourselves in, including scams. So, as technology changes, scam tactics, of course, change with the introduction of AI. I'm sure it'll change again with whatever the next big thing is. The threats will change. Of course, God's word never change. He is, of course, our foundation. Again, some scripture there that helps me kind of ground myself in this secular world. And some things that I, again, kind of ponder as I work very closely with these things in the secular world that help me kind of, again, stay grounded, help me focus on the Lord as opposed to getting swept away with, the riches of this world. That's it. Thank you very much.